Hi friends, follow this tutorial to turn this into this. My name's Carolyn Dunn and I'm a dot mandala artist and I would love to welcome you to my channel. Let's get into it.
We are working on this piece. It's called Choose Joy, and let me just mark the top
so we can orient it appropriately.
So I just put an arrow where it's the top. We're going to go in with metallics. We're going to put on some embellishment.
So I've got some rhinestones.
And I have
some dimensional paints.
And maybe some Nouveau drops for embellishments as well.
And some little mirrors.
Okay, so center dot.
We're using Nouveau crystal drops in berry blue. I'm excited to see how this will look. Just squeeze until you get the appropriate size dot, which should be about the same size as a 10mm circle. I really like that.
Look at how plump it is. Oh, I love it, I love it.
Okay, next color is white pearl, and we're using the 0.5mm tool just to create a circle of dots around our big, beautiful, plump center dot.
Here we go. Lovely, lovely, lovely.
Next row is in the pink tourmaline.
I'll probably stay with the 0.5mm tool here.
And we're just placing these dots beneath and in between the two dots above it.
Okay, now we need to go in with
Dazzling Metallics Teal. And we'll be using the 2mm tool for this round of dots.
So we're on this line here and we're going in between the two dots. There we go. Yep, looking good. And I think with this purple, we will create the dot and then we're going to drag it down. Let's actually go up to the 3mm tool and let's have our handy dandy little fine tip tool ready. Yeah, so this is a 12-inch piece and I have divided it up into 32 segments. Okay, you see the little X's there. I did 16 segments, then I split them in half to give me 32 segments. And it's not because I have a plan in place. I really don't. I typically don't. That's why I put so many guidelines in, because. Okay, that's dry enough that we can get some purple dots in, and we're gonna swoosh in between.
And it's the Dazzling Metallics Purple Pearl that we're using.
So we have our fine tip tool, we have our 3mm tool, and we're just coming in between these dots.
And I'm using the small end of this fine tip tool to drag that swoosh down in between the dots above it. There we go. And now Take your fine tip tool and your pearl white Dazzling Metallics paint and place a tiny dot there just above the teal dot, all the way around. For our next round of dots, we're going to be using the 2mm tool and the Folk Art Color Shift paint in pastel purple. Now I did thin it with some pouring medium as it was quite thick. Now these dots are in the row that's 2 to 2.5 centimeters from center. I did start with the 2.5mm tool, but I soon realized that was going to be a little bit too big, so switched to the 2. You've got to love that color shift paint. Now we're going in with the Nouveau Crystal Drops in Caribbean Ocean to place dots in between those purple swooshes. Just testing out these rhinestones, and I'm placing one on every 4th line to decide what we'll do around them.
Okay, so at this point you have 2 options. One is to trace your embellishments. So you just set it where you want it. And then you can swoosh around that, or you can take a little piece of sticky tack, put it on the back of your, you don't want too much because it'll lift it too high. Put it on the back of your piece and place it 1, 2, 3, 4. Where you want it there, and actually just swoosh around it, or whatever your pattern you're going to do, with leaving it in place. Okay, and either option is acceptable. This one, as you know, because you're tracing, you are making that just a titch bit wider. I mean, you can decide what you're going to do. Maybe we'll go in with them placed
for this first round, and they are 1/2 centimeter down from those color shift dots.
So I'm placing them with the top of it 1/2 centimeter down from that row of dots. Give you a measurement there. So that's going to be, so the bottom of it is at 10.5 centimeters from the rim. So hopefully leaving less negative space in between. If that's what you want, you might not want that. There, so now they're all in place, and we can go in with our brush strokes around those. I mean, you could do brush strokes, or you can use your tools to make some swooshes. And you'll just recognize that this is your midpoint. Okay. So your swooshes can't go any further than there. So you might start with your first swoosh. Maybe we'll put a dot up here, and then we'll swoosh down our first swoosh. Actually, let's bring it from the dot down, from the dot down. The next one will come a bit lower, so we'll come down just above that. And we're coming to that second line. And then we'll come midway here. Midway here. Now you definitely don't have to do all of this, but we're just giving ourselves a guideline
to help keep us symmetrical. And I'm going to carry this on all the way around.
Okay, and I'm hoping there will be room that we can place a dot here at the end. And then in between here, we'll place a nouveau drop. Now we'll need to get our brushes out. I might try the 2/0 brush. Now we'll have to think about what colors we're going to do here. Maybe we'll do some pinks.
The first swooshes will be in fuchsia pop.
Royal fuchsia with a hint of white. All right, let's give that a try. Okay, so we want to go right up next to that guy. All the way around. This is a carousel pink. So now we're coming a little bit lower here. We're going to go in with bubblegum pink. So that's kind of an interesting way to do it. I see I have got paint on one here. I have a few extra. But we'll wait to take those off until that paint is dry. And we will be putting a dot above them and above them here. And actually, I think what I'm going to do is take that middle dot, and that's what I'm going to create this uppermost dot with. So let me check all the way around. So I think if we kind of go on the crosshairs here,
that'll work well.
Yeah, I like that. And then thinking I'm going in here with one, and this is a different color. I do think we're going to do a round of dots in the pearl white next. Let's go 2.5. There.
Now at the base of these flowers, we're going to place Crystal Nouveau drops in Caribbean Ocean.
So look all the way around first so that you'll be able to do something that's going to be the same all the way around.
Now I'm going to place Crystal Nouveau drops in Copper Penny, and if you don't have that, just use copper paint or whatever color you like, and we're going to place a trio of swooshes in between those flowers. So you'll just place your first dot at the top there, drag that down, and then you'll place a dot on either side but a little bit lower towards center, and then drag those down as well. Okay, so the next embellishments we're using are these little mirrors. They're 3 centimeters in length, and at the widest part they're 1 centimeter in the middle. And we're going to place these on every 4th line. Remember, I've got it divided into 32 segments, and we're going to trace these ones. Okay, so we get to see both methods. And the point closest to center should be 1/2 centimeter below those white dots, or 1/2 centimeter above those white dots. And this is what it will look like with all those traced on. Oh, look at me planning the pattern ahead of time. So above those mirrors, we're going to place another embellishment. We're going to use those blue rhinestones again. And then we're creating the same similar swooshes around them, only we'll be using tools this time instead of the brushes. And I'm just sort of sketching this out to give me an idea of room. And in between those mirrors, we will be placing a single swoosh, which will be after we swoosh around the mirrors. And this is what it looks like all sketched out. Now you can see where the arrows are. So the top of that peak is 2 centimeters from the rim. We won't be doing alternating swooshes along the rim because I changed my mind partway through. Okay, we're going to start with desert turquoise for our first swooshes around these mirrors. And we'll go in with the 3mm tool for these.
And so here's the key. Because I traced these ones, we want to make sure that we cover that white line so that we're not going to have any negative space. I'm using the 3mm tool and just dragging this down. I want to make sure there's lots of paint in there.
And I'm using the small end to drag it down and tuck it down at the bottom there.
I don't want to be dragging it like so I can hear the tool all the way down, because then I'm not getting enough paint on there. And you don't want to see the tool marks, right? So just really load that up with paint. Get it part way. Get some more paint
if you need it. And use that small end of the tool to tuck those ends in.
Okay, first round done. We're going to be going in with the second round in turquoise.
And just to keep you up to speed on measurements, the tops of those swooshes are 10 centimeters from center.
We'll still use the same tool. So now you see, by the time I get around here, this one is dry enough that I can go in beside it, because I want to go right up next to it.
While we're waiting for that last swoosh to dry so we can put in the final swoosh, we're going to go in with the pink tourmaline and create these curlicues. Now let's get that last turquoise swoosh in.
Now we're going to come down with a swoosh in between, and I think that's going to be in the purple pearl. I'll start right there. And we're using the 3mm tool, lots of paint on there, and then ease up as you're going down. And you just want to make it to that line there. Now on top of that, we're going to place some of these copper penny dots when that's dry. And then above these swooshes, I do want to put a Nouveau drop. Just have to figure out what color. This color ends up being a little bit too dark for my liking. We could do that.
So now let's place some Nouveau drops in the copper penny at the base of those purple pearl swooshes, all the way around.
Can I let you know where we're at? Here we are about 5.5 centimeters from the rim. So in here is going to go one of our little rhinestoney embellishments, and we're going to do some swooshing around those. And again, I'm just going to use the tools.
But first we'll go in with the berry blue Nouveau drops and place a dot underneath those mirrors.
Okay friends, so I'm starting off with Fuchsia Pop. I have added gloss medium, so I'm hoping it will dry better than these first ones. And I think I'll use the 2mm tool. And I'm just gonna start here. And remember, we traced these, so you just want to be sure that you've at least hit that line, if not even like gone over it a bit. Yep, is royal fuchsia. Okay, and I added some of that gloss medium to that. And now the carousel pink. Last color is this bubblegum pink. Added some gloss medium.
Okay, we're going to use some of this Tulip Puffy White Dimensional Paint to place dots just above the mirrors.
So we're just in that space, sort of above where the mirrors are going to go. Lovely, 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 lovely.
So, and here we're going to place the Tulip Puff paint in blazing blue above where the rhinestones are going to be going. And we'll do that all the way around. Okay, we're going to paint in that top pattern in the purple pearl.
Okay, so you can use a brush to put these in, or you can use a tool.
I'm using the 3mm tool.
You could also dot those down. But I just feel like I want to do this.
And I'm just using the 3mm tool to drag these swooshes down. The top of those swooshes is 2 centimeters from the rim.
Lots of paint. You don't want to see any streaky paint lines through it, if you know what I mean.
I'm starting with the fine tip tool to ensure I get a nice point at the tip of that swoosh. Oh, I really, really like that. And at the bottom of these pink flowers, we're going to use that berry blue in the Nouveau drops all the way around.
Oh, there we go, all the way around. I'm feeling like I want to put dragonfly glaze in here. Then I'm going to lose my guidelines. I'm going to try it. What have I got to lose? Putting a coat, maybe it'll be 2 of the dragonfly glaze. Don't have a plan yet, but I guess this is the start of the plan.
after I get this all painted in, I decide I'm going to carry that dragonfly glaze all the way to the rim and over the rim. I'm absolutely loving how that looks. Now I'm adding a second coat. Well, while that's drying, I'm going to clean up some of my guidelines in the center here. And doing a few touch-ups while I'm at it.
Okay, I was charging my battery for my phone. I was getting ahead here. So we're using the titanium white paint, and first I'm taking the 1mm tool and I'm creating 2 dots above here, and then I'm taking the 2.5mm tool and creating 1 dot up here. And I'm taking the small end of the 1mm tool and just taking 3 dots down. Okay, so the 1mm tool, 2 dots above, .5mm tool, 1 dot right in the crook there, small end of the 1mm tool, and there we go. How fast was that all the way around? Okay, now I am not sure what I'm doing here yet, but I do love the dragonfly glaze. I love it. So we'll wait and figure that out, shall we? Because we are going to choose joy. So whatever makes us feel joyful, we will do on this outer area.
So I've decided to do a trio of swooshes in the copper penny, just like we did in that inner circle, just sort of bringing that pattern out and making everything cohesive. And we'll do this all the way around, my friends.
So embellishments we're going to put here, embellishments here, all of our dimensional dots and swooshes are embellishments. And then I just have to figure out what I want to do along the border. And I do not know, so there you go.
It may very well be nothing because I really am liking that just the way it is. And that's the final decision.
Okay, friends, bit of a dust off here. We'll get some varnish on here, and then we can add our embellishments. We're going to start in the center. So I want to make sure in between all those big bumps we get varnish.
round 1. Okay, let's get the last round of varnish on this one. We've got our foam brush, and here we go. Get this middle done. I know I usually start at the outside, but I'm trying things differently for a bit. Sides, and that's round 3. Now we'll wait for it to dry, and then we'll put our embellishments on. Okay, my friends, we're ready to add our embellishments to Choose Joy. Okay, we've got 3 coats of varnish on there, and it's just looking gorgeous. Love that dragonfly glaze. If I'm adding embellishments to a piece, I just use basically these 2 items. I'll use E6000 for the larger, heavier mirrors, because it's got a lot, it has industrial strength, don't you know? And then I use the Gorilla Super Glue to add the smaller embellishments that we have. Now I'm going to start with the rhinestones. I've got these lovely blue rhinestones I'm going to add to the, in between the pinks. And then I have these mirrors I'm going to add in here. So we'll start with the rhinestones. Okay, so that's just in case I have to put that glue down. Okay, we're just going to add a little bit of glue there. And always just make sure that if it's stringy that you just draw straight up first. Okay, we're happy with that. Maybe some mirrors now. Okay, now the last of the rhinestones. There we go. They're all on. Okay, there we go. All the embellishments added, a beautiful piece. We'll let that dry and cure and whatnot, and then I'm going to finish up the back, and in the next module I'm going to show you how to hang this. Presenting Choose Joy. Look at that beautiful mandala, and it's called Choose Joy, because why wouldn't you? Why wouldn't you choose joy? And all those embellishments on there, they're just gorgeous. Thanks, friends. Thanks for joining me. Thanks for supporting me. And thanks for sticking with me through all these videos. I really appreciate it. And remember, keep on dotting. You won't regret it. I promise. This is our color palette for Choose Joy. We started off with black
craft paint to base paint it. We have included in our colors the Liquitex Basics acrylic fluid in titanium white. I used the Tulip puffy paint in the blazing blue and the white for some dimensional dots. In DecoArt Americana, we have desert turquoise, fuchsia pop, royal fuchsia, carousel pink, bubblegum pink. In the DecoArt Dazzling Metallics, we have white pearl, purple pearl, and teal. In Folk Art Color Shift, we have the pastel purple. I've got my pink tourmaline in the Craftsmart Multi-Service Premium Ultra Bright. Of course, we used our dragonfly glaze along the edges, and then we've got our Nouveau crystal drops in Copper Penny, Caribbean Blue, Berry Blue, and Windsor Wine. And that, I think, is all the colors that we used.